thrill seekers, extremists, adrenaline junkies. Who are these guys? Who else can they be but the slick skiing, cliff jumping, bump busting skiers on the World Mogul Tour? Just a few hours' drive from the warmth, the sunshine, and beaches of Southern California lie the Sierra Nevada mountains, where one can experience an entirely different climate and an entirely different world. Hello once again, everyone. I'm Tim Singer along with Duffy Wilson. Welcome to ESPN's coverage of stop number 8 on the World Mogul Tour. We are at Mammoth Mountain, California, and Duffy, it would seem that just about all of Southern California is here. This is not only one of the most popular ski resorts, it's a very unpredictable one.
Well, Tim, unpredictability is certainly the word for the weather here. In the last 10 days, we have had 10 feet of snow, and last night it rained. Speaking of unpredictability, this is a death cookie. It's that hard. Unpredictable in that you can hit this, the thing can bounce up and hit you in the head. It can deflect your ski, cause the end of your run.
They groom most of the trails here, but we can find those on the Mogul course, and how will that affect the skiing?
The Mogul course is going to have, it's going to be like 2 days here, Tim. It's going to be the morning. Death cookies, very hard. The better skiers are going to do very well. But by the afternoon, Tim, it could be 50 degrees here. We could have soft, beautiful spring conditions, and you know what? Then the other guys are advantaged because the snow is softer, they can ski better.
One thing we are guaranteed is very fast skiing, and fast is the way this sport is growing. Coming off of 2 medals in the Olympics, freestyle skiing is soaring.
Oh, it's doing so well. We thank our amateur friends for the great job they did at the Olympics, the 13,000 people in the crowd. But I just like to say that the pros, you know, this is an American sport, and the pros are still doing it here in the United States.
And the world's best professionals are set to go. When we return, we'll have preliminary round action from here in Mammoth Mountain.
The World Mogul Tour, brought to you in part by Valio, the ultimate ski belt.
Welcome back to coverage of the World Mogul Tour. Tim Singer along with Duffy Wilson. The pattern over the past few weeks has been upsets. Today was no exception. As we check out early round action, Scott Hall going up against the 5th seed, Bradley Holmes. And Hall, using the great all-around speed, turns, and air, would upset Holmes. Justin Patnode has been skiing great over the past few events, and here he not only displays that great skiing, but a little bit of freestyle showmanship with the ballet spins at the bottom of this winning duel. In the round of 16, it was a rematch of last week's championship duel at Arapahoe Basin, Scott Skyman Harrington against Mike Rawls. Again, it was a great duel, but this time it was Harrington coming out on top. Meantime, the top 2 seeds, Cameron Boyle and Dave Hill, easily skied their way into the quarterfinals. So the quarterfinal draw looks like this. Top seed Cameron Boyle faces Scott Harrington. It will be Scott Hall against Robert Aguirre, a pair of unseeded skiers. Tomas Christensen is set to go against Justin Patnode. And finally, Patrick Carlman will face off versus Dave Hill. And we're now set for the start of quarterfinal action here in Mammoth Mountain. Scott Hall on the red course, 25 years old, out of Michigan. He's facing Robert Aguirre, a Denver native. He's 27 years old, 5th year on the tour.
Timmy, both of these guys moved up, beating higher-seeded competitors. Scotty Hall advancing, Robert Aguirre advancing over Simmons. Hall knocked out Bradley Holmes.
Scott Hall has been underachieving all season long. This is his first quarterfinal appearance for the former freestyle amateur.
Hall with a great helicopter right in the middle, and he's looking very good in his turns.
Aguirre trailing Hall slightly, heading into the second jump, just the spread by Hall, and Aguirre with the triple.
As good as Hall's helicopter was, his second air was pretty bad, and Aguirre's chasing him down at the finish line.
And they cross the finish line, a very tight race. Jumps and turns will make the difference. And by the narrowest of margins on the red course, Scott Hall advances over Robert Aguirre into the semifinals.
Scotty Hall on your left and Robert Aguirre on your right. Good turns coming into the first air. As they make it to the first air, a great helicopter by Hall, and once again, a not complete triple maneuver by Robert Aguirre. I think Bob would be better off going up there and doing a better executed double.
And the quarterfinals continue with our next duel. Cameron Boyle against Scott Harrington. Boyle, the two-time Tour defending champion, is coming off his worst showing, while Harrington, his best. He finished second a week ago in A-Basin, and more than possibly any skier on this tour, Scott Harrington likes to imply the mental approach to skiing.
I'm trying to keep an even keel as far as attitude. You know, it becomes more of a mind competition now, you know. Everyone's really good and very close as far as ability goes, but now you have to really center on peak performance, as I saw Nelson Carmichael mention at the Olympics. So I'm really working on that, you know, focusing on my run and getting strong for the run and psyched and, you know, trying to get big airs.
Red course ready. Blue course ready. Racers ready.
Cameron Boyle, winner of 4 events this season, coming off his worst showing, a third-round exit last week in Arapahoe Basin, the top jump, Duffy.
Cameron Boyle way off the ground, but Scott Harrington, the Skyman, up there too.
Both skiers products of Outer Limits in Killington, where they both grew up training on that tough course. Trouble for Harrington, and he's down.
Scott Harrington had a lot of problems above the second jump with his turns and also his entry to the jump.
And after losing in the round of 16 a week ago, Cameron Boyle cruises down the finish line and into the semifinals. The scores are in, and obviously one-sided. Cameron Boyle tops Scott Harrington.
As we come to the air, 2 great triples, twister spreads by both skiers. And right there, Cameron Boyle really gets into good technique. But I'm telling you, it was just Scotty trying to catch up with Cameron there, Tim. He just skied too fast. He was not able to keep up, and Cameron gets the cruise.
2 more quarterfinal duels coming your way when we return to Mammoth.
Accommodations provided by the 1849 condominiums, located right at the base of the lifts at Mammoth Mountain.
Welcome back to Mammoth Mountain. Tim Singer along with Duffy Wilson on the Bud Mogul Tour. We're set for our next quarterfinal. Justin Patnode against Tomas Christensen. Patnode, the #1 ranked extreme skier. Flashy, no doubt, but he has refined his skiing style to suit this Mogul Tour.
I think I'm going to have to let it rip really hard here at the next few events. I really need to win one, you know, to set it in stone. I ski against the World Cuppers, and they smoke me all the time just because their turns are so much cleaner. I'll beat them on air because I'm a little bit flashier, but, you know, it really comes all down to turns. I think turns are very important, so I'm going to try to turn it over and make my turns a lot nicer. Still going to do the spectacular airs, of course.
Red course ready.
Yes.
Blue course ready. Racers ready.
We see Patnode on course right now. Sorry, Timmy. We get right into it. There's Justin's helicopter. That gets him the air to start with.
You can always count on the helicopter, but Christensen keeping pace right now.
Christensen has been skiing very well on this course. Talked to some of the guys that said he's going to be tough. He's got a triple there.
It's going to be a race to the finish with turns still important right until they cross the finish line. They can't beeline, but they do cross at precisely the same time. That was a great duel, Duffy, and we await the judges' call. On the blue course, the Swedish team member Tomas Christensen has topped Justin Patnode, a mild upset as he advances to the semis.
Justin Patnode won the overall judge and he won the air judge, but you know what? He lost both the turns judges, and I think we can see it here. Justin has just got too much upper body movement in his turns. There's too much braking at the waist and too much flailing around up top. It slows him down.
Definition of California, brilliant sunshine glaring down on the far west course here at Mammoth Mountain as we get set for our final quarterfinal. Patrick Karlman, 27 years old, out of Sweden. He's taking on the number 2 seed, Dave Hilb. Hilb on the right, Karlman on the left.
And they're on course. Tim, it should be a great race. Karlman looking good. Dave Hilb coming to the jumps now. Good air by Hilb.
How big is skiing in Sweden? In a country that has produced a Wimbledon champ and a heavyweight champion, Ingmar Stenmark is Patrick Karlman's hero.
And they're even off the second jump. Karlman, not good air.
Dave Hilb coming off his worst performance of the year, a round of 16 defeat last week in A-Basin. They cross the finish line together as so many skiers have done in this event. On the blue course, the number 2 seed, Dave Hilb, defeats Patrick Karlman and moves to the semis.
Let's focus on Patrick Karlman. I think he lost this run. Hilb was solid, Karlman was not. Bad turns, bad body position. And when we come down to the final jump, look at that. Arm circles flapping his way out of the finals.
The semifinal brackets are set here in Mammoth. The top 2 seeds advance. Cameron Boyle will face Scott Hall, while Dave Hilb goes up against Thomas Christensen. Mammoth Mountain, the site of this week's mogul competition, is also a mountain for some great extreme skiing. Penny McCoy is part of the famous McCoy family here in Mammoth. A former World Alpine bronze medalist now takes us on a tour of this peak, along with the Mountain Goat team. We're back at Mammoth and set for the semifinals. A little story beneath the story. Cameron Boyle leads Dave Hill by just 18 points in the tour point standings this season. Boyle now faces Scott Hall. Dave Hill upcoming. Scott Hall, though, emerging big this week.
Scott Hall skiing very well here. He's drawn the blue course. Cameron Boyle on the red course. They're on. Cameron jumps out very quickly on the red course, coming down to the first air. 1, 2, 3 from Cameron, and Hall has problems. He's down.
Out of control is Scott Hall. Cameron Boyle has been the recipient of several crashes by his opponents so far today. He turns around, makes sure Scott Hall is okay, pulls out the maneuver on the second jump, and Cameron Boyle, as you see, nonchalantly cruising across the finish line. The judges' scores are a moot point. More importantly, Scott Hall is okay, and Cameron Boyle once again advances to the championship.
Scotty Hall lost this run with a very tough maneuver, but you know, he did a good job of it. What happened is a helicopter is tough to land. 5 feet after his landing, a big mogul and a big explosion.
And our final semifinal, Dave Hill, the man chasing Cameron Boyle, is on the red course. He'll be facing Sweden's Thomas Christensen. So many of the European mogul skiers, including the Olympic champions, prefer the dual format. Christensen is no exception.
In Europe, we ski a little bit more single runs. The French guys are really good at duels. The rest of Europe maybe better on singles. And I think if many of the European skiers would come here and ski duels, they would take a while for them to get ready for this because it's different.
The Swedish flag flies, possibly somewhat in honor of Thomas Christensen, who is now set to face Dave Hilb in the second semifinal. Hilb chasing Boyle for the championship.
A chance to get in the finals right now for both of these gentlemen. Hilb and Christensen haven't been there in a while.
Blue course ready! Racers ready!
And they jump out of the start, Tim.
Dave Hilb, after making the quarterfinals in each of the first 6 events, was eliminated in the round of 16 a week ago. Has he rebounded?
They're both making great turns in the middle section of this course.
Now they approach the second jump, the double daffy by Hilb, and a nice maneuver as well by Christensen. This is tight.
Dave Hilb has good air. There's good-looking turns on the bottom of the course, and he's first to the finish line.
Once again, they speed across the finish line almost at the same time, and once again, the judges have a tough call. Each of the judges by a 3-2 score give the edge to Dave Hilb. He tops Thomas Christensen and advances to the final.
This is the pro format at its best. Dual mogul skiing just as it should be. Skiers side by side, great turns in the line, and certainly this had to be a tough call for the judges.
You're looking at the faces of the top 2 skiers on this tour. Number 1, Cameron Boyle. Number 2, Dave Hilb. They will be meeting for the first time ahead this season when we return. But first, this ESPN program note. Coming up this Saturday at 4:30, World Cup Women's Downhill featuring Olympic silver medalist Hillary Lind. Join Bob Beatty and Todd Brooker from Vail, Colorado. Meantime, the Bud Mogul Tour will be spinning right back at you right after this. We're back here in Mammoth Mountain, California, and awaiting the championship. If you've been watching, there haven't been many crashes this week. In fact, a lot of the competitors think that this course is too easy. Tour veteran Scott Koff explains.
Well, there are a lot of concerns with the course. It doesn't quite meet the specs. It's not as steep as we'd like it, and it's not going to, because of that, it's not going to showcase the skier's ability. You know, Mammoth Mountain is a great ski area, and the competitors are really excited about being here. In the future, hopefully we can get it at a little steeper area where the skiers can really show their stuff.
Veteran Scott Coffey was eliminated in this event in the round of 16. Duffy, some good points. It has snowed a lot, but these guys like to see a tough course.
Well, I agree with Scott. You know, I know they're disappointed. They're flat. The course is flat, and the competitors are flat. These guys are showmen. They're great skiers, and they want to be challenged by the hill.
Very quickly, your opinion of Boyle Hill, the dream duel.
A dream duel, you know, Tim, they haven't met this year. Not one single duel between these guys. We don't have anything to go on except for Dave skis very well, and Cameron had a great jump in his last round.
Well, that championship is upcoming, but first let's go to the top for the consolation duel. It's a pair of tour rookies on the red course. 25-year-old Scott Hall of Breckenridge, Colorado, formerly from Michigan. He's facing Sweden's Thomas Christensen, both looking for their first third places of the year.
And both have been looking good here.
Course ready. Racers ready.
On course, they jump onto the course again, Timmy, and Scotty Hall's got the lead.
Christensen, out of the World Cup circuit from Sweden, had a third place in 1988 on the World Cup Tour.
Hall with a great helicopter. Christensen's turns look better in the middle of the course.
They call Scott Hall hospital air because it's pretty sick when he catches big air, which he did right there. A struggle, but he gets back and crosses the finish line ahead of Thomas Christensen. And on the blue course, the bronze medal goes to Thomas Christensen of Sweden.
Things were looking pretty even for Scott Hall and Thomas Christensen until we got down to the final air. But this bobble by Hall certainly ended his look at third place.
This one needs no hype. On the red course, Cameron Boyle, #1 last year, ranked first this year, seeded first here in Mammoth. On the blue course, Dave Hilb, #2 a season ago, ranked second this year, and the second seed, a 1-2 dream matchup for the championship.
It's going to be a great run, Tim. No question about it. Cameron and Dave are really psyched for this final.
Both ironically coming off of their worst showings of the season in the last event, but now they're cruising down for a title.
Cameron jumps out, but Dave's skiing a lot better.